Breaking news in Washington, D.C. right now, where a landmark hearing is underway with the Senate Judiciary Committee.
Christine Blasey Ford is testifying about her allegation of physical and sexual assault against Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh. Let's listen into the hearing.
Okay. Did anything happen at these events, like we're talking about, besides the time we're talking about?
You can answer that question, then I'll go to Senator Harris. Go ahead and answer that question.
There was no sexual assault at any of those events. Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Yes, those were just parties.
Or anything inappropriate is what I'm asking.
Well, maybe we can go into more detail when there's more time. I feel time pressure on that question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Six more senators will question Blasey Ford before her testimony is over. 3 senators are Democrats and 3 are Republicans. If you have a Powerball ticket, hang on to it. The jackpot is rising. Coming up, we'll tell you how much and when the next drawing will be.
Gallons of blue foam covered Helaman Fields, all in the name of fun. Find out how the annual event became a tradition.
BYU women's volleyball once again cruised to a 3-0 victory and continue their winning ways.
The BYU women's basketball team took the court last night in their preseason showcase. Find out their expectations for the coming season.
Struggle comes with being disciplined enough to just be calm and trust your body to react. So when you do that, you dig everything.
We send in one of our own to find out what it takes to play on the #1 team in the country. It's time for Sportsline.
Hold on to your socks. The first spot in the World Series has officially been taken. See how the team from Boston sealed their place in the October Classic.
And later, a BYU sport that's heating up this cold weather. What you can expect this season from this sizzling team.
You just can tell that people are just sad and respectful more. It's just kind of solemn around campus.
The University of Utah held a vigil for the student murdered earlier this week.
A public forum was held in Salt Lake last night to discuss the ongoing proposition of medical marijuana.
And a roundabout near Orem High School has everyone looking twice before they cross the street.
What happened, I literally was like, oh my gosh, and then fell to the floor.
A man entered a California nightclub and killed at least 12 people late last night.
Utah Congress names a new Senate President and House Speaker following the midterm elections.
And Vineyard is named the fastest growing city in the state of Utah. The Boy Scouts of America are being sued. We'll let you know who is suing them and why.
I saw the statement on my phone from Sarah Sanders that my press credentials were being revoked.
CNN reporter Jim Acosta has his White House credentials revoked after a heated discussion with President Trump.
And a team of engineers at BYU created one of the most unlikely canoes. We'll show you the boat that you have to see to believe.
Criminal charges have been filed against the owner of the building.
Provo Fire Department finishes their investigation into a June house fire.
This is the second year for the giving machines as part of the broader Light the World initiative.
The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints sets up service vending machines for the second year in a row.
The test of the university's emergency alert system. It is only a test.
The BYU Police runs a yearly test on their campus-wide alert system.
BYU plays their first game tonight in the NCAA Women's Volleyball Tournament.
The BYU football team is anxiously awaiting their bowl announcement to finish their season.
I've been a little disappointed just because I enjoy winning.
And we get a feel for what the BYU fans think as they look back on the football season.
Hopefully this just spreads the message that we do love everyone.
BYU students join in a candlelight vigil to honor a fallen classmate.
A group of medical marijuana advocates sued the state of Utah for changing a bill that received voter approval in November.
We really have been trying to focus this Christmas season on finding a personal way to serve people.
BYU students are finding ways to light the world this holiday season.
Once Upon a Deadpool comes out in theaters next week, and they release a new poster. Coming up, we'll tell you why this poster is stirring up controversy, especially here in Utah.
The best father a son or daughter could have.
President George H.W. Bush is laid to rest today in Houston. Hear more of the story after the break.
We are live in 3, 2, 1.
I'm gonna cry. I always do.
Emotions run high as Mayor Brent Taylor's body was returned to his family.
Mia Love tries to sue the Salt Lake County clerk to stop counting votes until signatures are verified, but the district attorney dismisses the suit. What this means for the continuing election.
As the wildfires in California continue to burn, the number of missing people continues to rise. Where the majority of the missing people are from and what is being done to find them. Welcome to Newsline. It's Thursday, November 15th. I'm Danny Hallows.
And I'm Adam Gibby. Major Brent Taylor's body is now back in Utah and received a dignified welcome at the Ronald R. Wright Air National Guard Base.
Madeline Reber was at the National Guard Base and joins us now. Madeline, it was a solemn hero's welcome for Major Taylor.
Yes, it was. Family, veterans, and community members all gathered together to welcome the body of the fallen soldier. Flags waved in the wind and soldiers stood at attention as Major Brent Taylor's body arrived in Utah. Major Taylor, a member of the Army National Guard and mayor of North Ogden, was killed in an insider attack on his 4th tour to Afghanistan. His remains came from the Dover Air Force Base in Delaware and arrived in Utah at 3:30 p.m. He was greeted by his now widow, 7 children, the Army National Guard, and close friends. Fellow soldiers lowered the casket off the plane, draped it with an American flag, and carried it to a line of soldiers in uniform. Taylor's wife said, quote, "On behalf of the family, I would like to thank you for being a part of this important homecoming." Besides close family members and friends, many community members gathered outside of the National Guard base to pay tribute to Major Taylor.
It's a lot of gratitude mixed with a lot of emotion and sadness for the family as well, because they are the ones who also make a huge sacrifice for everybody else.
Police, first responders, and the Patriot Guard riders accompanied Taylor's body on the 40-mile procession to the mortuary in North Ogden.
I'm gonna cry. I always do. I know that freedom doesn't come without a cost.
The viewing for Taylor's body will be held on Friday from 5 to 8 p.m. at the D Event Center at Weber State University. The funeral will be the following day at 1 p.m. and he will be buried in the Ben Lomond Cemetery. Ogden City plans on closing the street Saturday for a large procession following the funeral. Back to you.
The Love McAdams congressional race is still too close to call, but now McAdams is leading Love by less than 900 votes. After Salt Lake County votes were counted, McAdams' lead over Love shrank to 873 votes. 64,000 ballots still need to be counted from Salt Lake and Utah County. As of now, Salt Lake County has Love with 45.6% of the vote and McAdams with 53.9%. And in Utah County, Love has 74.4% of the vote, whereas McAdams has 25.6%. Mia Love tried to stop Salt Lake County from counting ballots by filing a petition against the county, but her petition was dismissed. Love wanted the signatures on the ballots to be compared with signatures on file with the county. Last night, the Salt Lake County District Attorney's Office filed a motion to dismiss Love's petition. The motion was filed in the 3rd District Court.
A medical marijuana support group is threatening a lawsuit against the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The reason they are threatening the lawsuit is over the church's involvement in helping the Utah State Legislature create a compromise for Prop 2. The church doesn't support Prop 2. The group, Together for Responsible Use in Cannabis Education, sent a letter to the LDS Church, Utah Patients Coalition, the Utah Medical Association, and other members of the legislature. The letter threatened the lawsuit against the church. Support for a Utah ballot measure to create an independent redistrict commission is at a 50.1% lead since the end of election week. The measure is now extremely close with 49% against it. A race this close and this late means it's likely this proposition is not locked in to pass. The proposition would have created a 7-person commission to draw up new maps for the congressional and state legislative districts after the 2020 census.
It's been 1 week since the Camp and Woolsey fire started, and some people are finally being allowed to return to their neighborhoods. Today, DNA samples will be taken from missing people's relatives. This will help with the locating of more than 100 people who are still missing. Omar Jimenez reports.
As firefighters take control of the Woolsey and Camp fires in California, many people remain missing.
There are a lot of people that want some answers. They are depending on us to find their loved one.
The National Guard is assisting in the search, sifting through debris and turning over rubble, looking for bodies. The grim task is taking its toll on crews.
Everybody that's involved here has an emotional connection to this. A lot of the people that are from this community have directly been impacted by either losing their home or know somebody that lost their home.
The majority of the missing are from Paradise, a Northern California town all but wiped from the face of the earth.
We went all over town yesterday and we did not see any neighborhood that wasn't devastated.
The mayor of Paradise says they were not prepared for the fire's speed.
The winds were so strong, it was blowing embers 1 to 2 miles. The fire chiefs told me that. It was just blowing in 2 miles at a time. We had no time at all, maybe 5 minutes.
Still, she is confident they will rise from the ashes.
We're gonna come back, we're gonna rebuild, we're gonna make Paradise paradise again.
Salt Lake police are still searching for a man who is suspected to be involved in a recent stabbing. Police identified the suspect as Kitus Shane Johannes. He is 31 years old. The stabbing happened on November 8th in the area of 477 North and 300 West at around 9:30 p.m. If you have any information, please call the Salt Lake Police Department at 801-799-3000.
Police arrested a man who is accused of prostituting, raping, kidnapping, and beating 2 women. 52-year-old James Savage Brown will be charged in 3rd District Court with 7 felony charges. One of Brown's victims first met him at a bus stop in Sandy, and then he kidnapped her and held her in his apartment. He forced her to work for sex for years and threatened her with violence. The other victim was kept in a hotel room by Brown for several days, where he raped and abused her.
You may know what TED Talks are, but have you heard of Penn Talks? Newsline reporter Amy Hamilton went to a Penn Talk held at Brigham Young University. Amy, what is a Penn Talk?
PEN stands for Perspective Education Narratives. Last night's panel focused on stereotypes and personal identity. Several minority students shared their unique stories.
PEN Talks are a chance for BYU students to come together in a safe place and discuss diverse topics. Last night, Brigham Young University student alumni hosted the second Penn Talk. 5 diverse BYU students participated in a panel discussion and shared their individual stories about how they've been stereotyped, particularly at BYU. Penn Talks are the brainchild of one of the panelists.
We had a real conversation with a student who needed help, and that student was Kira Nielsen, and she talked a little bit about the struggles that students can have on campus when they feel like their stories aren't being told, but ultimately she gave us the idea to have a discussion or a panel where people could tell about their life.
Kira opened up at the panel about how people have stereotyped her throughout her whole life, just because of her skin color. She wants a change.
People become more open-minded and they're willing to swallow their pride and get to know people who look different than them, believe different things, have different political beliefs, different backgrounds, and this campus is going to change.
The discussion also included sexual, cultural, and religious identity.
This is me.
BYUSA leaders are hoping that Penn Talks will improve open communication and acceptance right here on BYU's campus.
It's not going to be a comfortable process.
I kind of live by a motto of what's their story. When we take the time to ask people what their story is, then we break down the stereotypes and we break down the barriers and we get to know them for who they are.
Anthony asked the audience not to leave the discussion there. He encouraged students to lean into the discomfort of a heavy issue and share what they learned with others.
It's amazing to have a platform like this where people are here to support us.
BYUSA has planned a total of 4 panels for the 2018-2019 school year. So if you missed the chance to attend the first 2 panels, be sure to stay updated with BYUSA for next semester. Back to you.
Thanks, Amy. 2100 North in Lehigh will close this weekend at the I-15. Construction crews will lower a roadway and convert the interchange to a temporary diverging diamond interchange, or DDI. The DDI is expected to be in place until 2020. Technology Corridor Construction urges drivers to plan ahead this weekend and use different roads when driving through Lehigh.
The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints announced the dates for an open house for their new temple in Haiti. The temple's open house will start on April 20th and will end Saturday, May 4th of 2019, except for the Sundays of April 21st and 28th. The Church of Jesus Christ will hold a youth devotional on Saturday, May 18th, and the church will dedicate the temple on the following day, Sunday, May 19th. Thomas S. Monson, then president of the church, announced the temple construction at a church-wide conference in 2015. The man suspected of mailing bombs to high-ranking politicians is in court today. The charges he faces coming up.
The big winners from the Country Music Awards after the break.
Ski Resort opens its slopes for the season. What to expect before you head to the mountain.